Welcome again to the office hours 2025 August, the month of August. My name is Ruchika Mogha. I'm a solution engineer in Nakisa, and I'll be presenting you the topic for this session today, which is intercompany transfer. So we are releasing in our latest version the feature for the intercompany transfer, which will be explained further down in the introduction. How does it work? What are the impacts of the intercompany transfer on the schedules, posting, and reports? What are the limitations? What are the best practices? And as well as what's coming in future phases for intercompany transfer in our solution. Please feel free to ask some questions in the chat, or you may unmute yourself and ask your questions. I just want to give a quick pointer that I'll be using our development build. So if there's a glitch, I apologize in advance. Hopefully we don't have any issues today. So the introduction for the intercompany transfer. What is intercompany transfer? So basically in our next gen, this feature will be allowing you to transfer a contract from one company code to another company code, whereby it'll be recognizing in the target entity. At the same time, we'll be dismissing from the current entity where it stands as when you're transferring it. Why intercompany transfer is important, as we all know that we have multinational companies, we have multi-division and subsidiaries, and there may be need in time where we sometimes need to move a leasing contract from one company to another company, and thereby also we have to comply with the IFRS and ASC 842. So we have kept that in mind and brought this feature in the next gen. As I just quickly mentioned, it's a small example, same thing. Basically, if a company has a contract whereby now there's a need for that contract or that equipment or that asset to be transferred to another company, so that leased asset can be transferred using the intercompany transfer now, whereby the next payments or the future payments will be managed by the receiving target entity. Who can perform intercompany transfer? So, as you all know, our solution is based on it's a role-based task and tasks that you can do in the solution. So basically, any user who is assigned an NLA batch user role will be able to perform this transfer. As well as keep in mind that the user of the existing company will be able to see the contracts up until it gets transferred out to the new company. So the new company, the target entity user will be able to see that new contract like any other contract based on the user profile. How do we perform the intercompany? How that works? Let's see. So first, as usual, we have to keep always in mind when there's a new feature or a new enhancement, we have to keep in mind the first setting, which is our financial org structure setting, our configuration page, whereby we have to ensure that under our general setting, we have activated or enabled the intercompany transfer. So we simply will come on the general setting page and make sure that we enable it before we commence. Next thing we have to keep in mind that when we are performing intercompany transfer at this stage, it's a beta stage, keep in mind, it's not a final product. We are doing right now intercompany transfer where configurations of both the companies, which is the existing company and the target company, or may use the terminology as new and old company or old and new company, where we have the currencies same, where the group currencies are identical. It also requires the accounting standards to be identical. Same thing for the calendar type and fiscal variant, as well as the asset class. Next, we have to keep in mind that we have to create a new GL account. So to use this capability, we have a new GL account called intercompany transfer. It's a new lease account type, which needs to be configured for both the old company and within the old company and the new target company. So basically, the user will have to add it in the general ledger, and then they will have to come in account determination. So general ledgers are in configurations in our Nakisa financial org structure. And then you have to come into account determination under our lease account determination tab. And here, as I show you an example that we have mapped, because I did a transfer from a company code 1000 to 1003. So it's within the same system. It's very important to know that in the current version that we have provided you, it's only possible right now within the same system. So as you can see, we have configured the intercompany transfer account, and this is the GL account that I've assigned to it. So these two steps or these multiple points must be considered before we initiate the intercompany transfer. The intercompany transfer, as I said, is basically what happens when you perform it is that you're moving the objects between the different company codes within the same ERP system. So I just mentioned this. Second is that the batch job can process up to 10 contracts at a time with validations in place to ensure data integrity. So I like to emphasize here that currently you cannot perform intercompany transfer on the UI. You have to use the batch management, whereas I mentioned 10 contracts can be done at a time. In future releases, we do plan to increase this volume because obviously you may have multiple contracts, more than 10 to be performed. So it's going to come in the future releases as well. The option to have multiple contracts. Contracts, lease components, activation groups that have open draft will be ignored. So for example, if a contract has multiple lease components attached to it, and there may be some that are not active, whereby others are, only the ones that are active lease components within that contract will get transferred to the new target entity. The rest will be ignored. The contract right now will be transferred within the same NLA, but under a different company code. So again, the next release will have the option or the availability for you to transfer into a different MLA as well. So I'll show you um, the Excel template. That'll also give you an idea. We also have to keep in mind that before a transfer, a user must post all the journal entries before transfer date for the selected contracts under the activation group. So just like when you perform a modification, lease modification, sometimes you want to make sure all the postings are done and then you do the modification. After a transfer, all the actions on the old contract and the activation group will be blocked. So basically, you cannot perform any other event except lease end. So you'll be just posting the last termination or closing the contract entry, and as well you'll just be able to perform a lease end and close the contract in the old entity. Any questions so far? Okay. So basically, where is the mass intercompany transaction transfer available? So it's basically in our main menu. Under batch management, we have mass intercompany transfer, and we have jobs. So the user will be navigating here in order to run this task. So next, as I mentioned before, keeping all those steps under FOSS in mind, as well as validating that the information that the contract can be transferred between the two company codes. So that's important to know that you can transfer a particular contract between these two company codes, basically using the pointers I mentioned before. Make sure that the status of the AG is active, just the way I mentioned the slide before, is that if it's not active, it will be ignored. So when you start running this job, the pop-up will come here, which basically means going through these these boxes quickly. It's showing you batch size is 10. The user can name as they want right now for the transfer job. Then you have lessee. It's only available for lessee position as of now. The transfer date, as I mentioned, it will be any date after your last posting date. And then you have different filters that you may or may not apply. You can leave it as all. And then you have a list filter type. So as I said, you can have 10 contracts at a time that you can copy paste here if you want to select 10 particular contracts, just like the way we have in other additional filters, list filter by type. In this case, it's only going to be contract IDs. So next this is basically when a sync job starts. Maybe I can show you on the UI how to navigate, and I will show you the example that I have already done for this session. So just to give you another look on the UI itself, basically user come on the main menu, click on batch management, and under this, the last icon is mass intercompany transfer and jobs. So if I click on this, I'll show you one of the ones I have just completed for this test. So basically user will click on the plus icon, and then there's this warning, which we'll go through in a bit. But basically, everything as I mentioned, just want to show you the filter. As of now, you can copy 10 contracts ID. So you can just select in an Excel file, and you can copy paste, or it can be in any format. The system will identify them and include them in the object list here for you. Second. Let me show you the warning, which probably have included before as well. Make it a bit bigger. So basically, you can go through the items I had just mentioned previously as well, giving you a warning of what the intercompany transfer beta version can do for you, what will be the limitations, what will be ignored, and what must be done before and after the contract has been transferred. So this is giving you a snippet. I've explained to you most of it already. So basically, when you want to initiate it, you will be assigning a name, and then you'll select positions. So just to show you quickly a random example, which I'm not going to run as of now. And here's a contract, and I don't want to select anything else. I'm just picking any contract. And when the user selects add, the solution will automatically create Excel file. So as it says, schedule to generate input template. This is very similar to what we do for our modifications, like mass modifications as well, that we enter the information on our pop-up. It populates the information that we have selected based on that in Excel file. So we can see that once it'll be created, it will look something like this. It's going to say ready to download once it's ready. And then you can enter the information. So I'll show you the template in a second, which basically will tell the solution, okay, you're going to move this contract from company A to company B with other information as well. So once your Excel gets populated, you can re-upload it here, and the system starts to run the task on the right column as well. You'll be able to see it. So I'm just going to download the one that I had completed successfully here. Second. Once this is created, I can just show you quickly how it's done. Actually, you can download this one. Okay. Here it is. So as you can see, this contract I selected one contract. First of all, the color coding is very similar to what we have in other templates. As I said, mentioned before, mass modification has a similar color coding. So the red is absolutely required. And as we can see, the only column that I read is this one, the A, and then the new company code. So the new company code is right here. So these two are absolutely required. So what happens right now is that, let me just go back. So let's go step by step. I have column B, which is the contract that I had selected that I want to transfer to another company code. And it gave me the current master agreement. So currently, as I mentioned, it's only going to be transferred within the same master agreement in the version we have. Right now, also, we only have ERP within two ERP, the same ERP, the transfer. So that's why even though you do see the columns here available, it's going to come in the next releases that you'll be able to do an intercompany transfer between two ERP systems. Then I'm just going to mention that the current company display ID. So, for example, right now the company code that this contract is in is 1000. And if I want to change it to 1003, so user can simply input the company code right here. Then we have our breakdown for cost objects, which is WBS and our profit center. So this particular contract did not have any. That's why you don't see any of that here. But if it was there and you leave it empty, it will get transferred using the same object entity in the new contract as well, in the new company code. Then we have the cost center allocation. So the cost center allocation will be required. So you can see that for the contract was, it's highlighted in the cell B2 here. And then we must also provide the new cost center display ID. Even if it's the same, I suggest that you add it here. And if there's a different cost center allocation, then you can, again, split it accordingly as required. You can do modifications for the cost center allocation. It does not have to be identical whatsoever. So basically, once you have completed these two tabs, then we also have the tabs for the emails for subscriptions for when you receive it. Once all these flows is occurring, you will receive. So for example, one of my colleagues' name is here. So if I need to add, I can add a new subscriber here who will receive the notifications. So once the user have populated all information in this file, you'll be simply able to upload using the plus icon here. Just like our mass modification, you will find the document and you will import it. So what happens basically once the import is done, let me just show you quickly color coding for our intercompany transfer task, as well as what happened in the transfer job, so you have a visual idea before we go further. Second. So once you click add, the system will first start generating schedule, will provide you a schedule generate input template file. This is the first task schedule you will see on the right side of the window. And once you start uploading it, once the user entered the input and has uploaded the file, the downloaded file with all the new information that you want to transfer to, it will change to mass intercompany transfer in orange. And once it's successfully completed, on the right column, you will see a mass intercompany transfer done. So again, quickly bringing back it here. So the one that was completed, we can see this particular row was connected to mass intercompany transfer done. This one is generating and now it has been ready. So it's giving me a pending user input. And the scheduled one, the orange one, you probably will see once it's running, once I upload a document here. That's for that. And as well as quickly, or what happens here, once you, as I mentioned, the blue file, the pink file is when you have to download it, upload it. And once the job is completed, as you can see here, we have a new icon here, which is reward. I'll cover that in a second. Any question on the template that I had shown as of now?
Just a quick question. Why are we saying if the cost center is the same, we're recommending it be input into the new cost center? Like why?
that is required. It's going to change. My template is doesn't show it to be red, but the cost center will be required even if it is the same as of now in the version in the beta version unit.
Okay. So is that the long-term intention, or is that just the current beta version is that way?
It's just the current beta version.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you for asking your questions. Anybody else has a question? Please go ahead. Okay. So as we saw, once the task, it said it's master intercompany transfer done. I see number one because only one in my contract that I was transferring. It falls in the category in the column done, right? So what happens then? If I come here, we can see, I'll show you on the UI as well. It's basically showing me that I had transferred this company, this activation group, or rather this contract, which ends with 9061. And now this contract is transferred to a new company code under a new company code and has assigned a new activation group ID, right? So it tells you when you come on the UI, it will automatically create a version of your activation group release component and will tell you that this has been transferred from this ID to this ID. So you can have an audit trail, you can flow through and move around in the UI. You can see that. And by clicking on this, it will actually take you to the new AG. So new AG and the new contract. So that's the visual of what it's going to look like when the transfer is completed. Okay. And let me go back and show you on the UI. Second. So I had initiated the sample I had shown intended to show you was in Excel as well, was basically this contract. I have transferred this contract 29061 to a new contract. So I showed you a snippet just for the activation, but it takes you on each object as well. It takes you on the contract, lease component, and on the AG. So you'll be able to navigate from each object from the old to the new using going on um, clicking on this to new lease component, the new contract as well, the new activation group, right? So going back to my activation group. So what do you see the changes here? I'll go step by step, or possibly from left to right. On the definition page, you will see that I initiated this modification on September 1st, 2025. It says termination date. It will be saying transfer date. Uh, and that's the date I ran my intercompany transfer on, right? So if I come back on the schedules, I had posted all my postings up until the 31st of August, and I triggered my intercompany transfer to on the 1st of September 2025. So if I go back and show you revision, which is my initial creation of the contract, my initial contract was for 1 year. And if I come on the schedules, you'll be seeing that I actually had my postings for 12 months. When I ran the intercompany transfer, I will see that these postings are not there, obviously, because I did not do it at that point. But if I come on my active, which technically also is inactive because it has been transferred, you will see that my schedules are ending as of October 31st, 2020, August 31st, 2025. And this entry is there just to reverse the long-term to short-term liabilities. So you'll see my postings have now been stopped as of now. And in the new contract, we will see the contract still remains as a fixed lease type, even though it is only less than a year. As well as you will see, I'll show you in a minute. Let me just go back on the activation just to show you. So you'll be seeing basically all the information that we entered will remain as is. The modification date is what I showed you. This comes automatically because we are doing only by mass. All this is exactly the same as I had in my old company, and same thing for my old contract, and same thing for my cost center. It's identical to what we had here in terms and conditions. We still have, it still shows for 12 months, but it's no longer 12 months. And then I want to show you, go back on my contract, the company code. As I mentioned, I had transferred from company code 1000 to 1003. So this is the original contract of 1000. So if I just come and click now to my new contract, which is in the new company code, you will see that the same contract details, which I showed in the activation group, has been transferred to this company code now. This new company code 1003 under the same master agreement with a different contract. So now you can see it's the same contract under the company code 1003, and it tells you where it came from. So the trail is there, and it tells you the ROU start date is 2025-09-01, that's September 1st until the end, and it is still a fixed lease contract. And under my terms, I will see only the remaining life of the contract. So the remaining terms from the date of modification, or the date of transfer. And you will be only able to see the postings. For example, I showed you one posting has been done. So you can see that it is only ending, like it's only showing me the next month until the end of the term of the lease. So that's how you will be able to see the transferring of the contracts from top to bottom, not just the units or the activation group, it's from top to bottom. You'll be able to see how it works. Any questions on that? Okay. So when you're transferring it, I must show you that on the UI. So when you are transferring it, you have the entry. Obviously, we need to see the accounting entry. Again, this is a testing environment, so it's not perfect. I just want to show you quickly. You will see the posting entry like you normally see a termination entry. It's in red column in the column for journals. It's right here. So for example, when it's creating and it's bringing in, this is the new company code. Okay. Voila. So it actually is looks, it's not correct here showing me the values, but basically it's an intercompany transfer account. So it's not being configured properly here, but basically that's what it is showing me, that this entry is intercompany transfer. It's the same amount that you just saw in the other contract. It's basically transferring the remaining, the net between the asset and the depreciation. It's going to transfer out. There's no gain or loss being recorded. So you can see the 8287 is here, and the same is going to show up here as well. Right here. Okay, so that's the transfer of the entries between the two. And it's operating, that's why there's no liability there. Okay. Next. I mentioned that once we have a successful intercompany transfer, there's an icon that appears on the intercompany transfer job, which basically is mentioning revert. So if a user realizes that for some reason that this intercompany transfer should not have occurred, there's an opportunity for you to reverse this intercompany transfer. That being said, it only reverts it on the same transfer date in this beta version right now, which is if my transfer date was 1st of September 2025, it is going to revert the job, the intercompany transfer job on the same date in the same period. So in the upcoming releases, we will have it for it to transfer it to a different date. Means we're managing the dates right now. It's blocked with just the same transfer date. So as I said, what will that once it's done, what will it trigger? So the reward option will delete the newly generated contract and the lease component and the activation group under the new company code. It will completely delete it, even though if you have posted any entries, because it's in the same accounting period, it's in the same open period. Even if it was created and generated as of now, you will be, even if you've made the posting, you will be able to trigger the revert and it will actually remove everything. At the same time, what it will do is the revert will uh, revert the revision that's basically what we saw in the old contract or the existing contract that's being sent to a new company code, that will also come back in active status. So the intercompany transfer version will automatically get deleted and the contract will be in an active status. Though once you start the revert, you'll not be able to cancel the task. So there's no option given to canceling the task. So this mentions you here same thing. As I mentioned, is that reward can be performed on the same as the transfer date. There's no other option available right now. Next is impact on the schedules and postings and reports. So I've already kind of showed you the schedule and the postings. So basically, all the postings that are in the old contract before it gets transferred out to the new company code will obviously remain in the same company code when you are running your CTR reports and also when you're running your other disclosure reports as well. And all the new postings will be shown under the new contract and the new company code. Same thing, it applies for the CTR report and the reports in general as well. I can show you an example, as well as when you, in case the revert feature of the company is triggered, as I mentioned, all the postings will be reversed from the new company code if there's any that have been posted. So it will also reflect, nothing will be reflected in the CTR whatsoever. Any questions on that as of now? Oh, let me give you another. I just exported the Excel file for the CTR for the contract that we were just discussing. We can see all the postings are up until the transfer date, which is September 1st, 2025. No other postings are there. And same thing in the asset roll forward will last for the months that we have the contract in the old company code, right? And then it transferred out to the new company code. So we can see in the asset roll forward report, it's showing that there's a decrease in our ROU asset, and same thing for cumulative depreciation. So it reflects all the way through um, the postings, the schedule of the postings, the reports, disclosure reports as well. So that's that. Going through limitations quickly, we have basically task cancellation is not supported, as I mentioned. System transfer is not supported as of now. Ignore this for now. It should not have been there. Contracts, only 10 contracts per job can be done. Once the event is triggered, yeah. So once a user has triggered an event in the new company code, in the new contract, you will not be able to revert it. If you've done postings, yes, you can revert it. But if you've triggered an extension, any lease modification, you will not be able to revert that intercompany transfer. So that is as of now. If there will be any changes, definitely I'll share with you in the next office hours. I have a question from Brett. Are intercompany transfers limited within the same business unit in lease area, or you can transfer? Okay, so as of now, if I'm not mistaken, it is limited under the same lease area. And the next question is, can you transfer to a company code in a different business unit lease area? I think there's a limitation on that right now. I can confirm to you if that's not the answer. As of now, I think it's limited to the same lease area as well. Also, another thing that's coming up in the future releases, we don't have it as of now, is the sublease. If there's a sublease under a contract, we'll not be able to perform intercompany transfer, or if you perform a split of AGs, then this intercompany transfer will not be supported as of now. So again, I'm sure you will be utilizing this feature, as it's a very common thing. It may happen in your company that you may have the intercompany transfers. So we suggest that you have a document, a step-by-step guide or instructions for the users, and make sure that once, even if though you have done a transfer, there's, as I said, you have a possibility of reverting as well. So do verify your reports, your journal entries, and make sure that if a reward needs to be triggered, that you can do it as of the open period in the same very period. So that's for it for the topic of intercompany transfer in this beta version. If you have any questions, again, feel free to unmute your mic or put in the chat like it was just shared by another user. There are no questions, we can wrap it up and give you back almost 70 minutes. Thank you everyone for your time, and feel free to drop an email if you have any questions or ask your CSM.
Thank you, Ruchika.
Thanks, Ruchika. Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruchika.